All right, guys, here we're going to talk about Pushing Daisies, Episode 1, Season 1.
We're taking it back. We're going old school.
Yeah.
This is one of our favorite shows, I think.
This show is great.
It is great.
And it
Thank you.
holds up.
Join us next week. No, yeah, this is a show I remember. I forget which one of us told the other one about it, or if we just somehow both knew. But it was like, oh no, this show's amazing, or whatever. And then you go like you leave our little bubble, and literally no one. Right? It's very disappointing.
This was a friend of our sister who told us, and we were watching.
And we're like,
that.
You're an idiot. We're not going to watch that.
And I think like she had given us the first season, and then like season 2, you like were DVRing off the TV.
Wow, that's old school then.
I believe
I had a TiVo that could burn DVDs, and I single-handedly brought down the entire system.
More or less. But this show's great. Like it's so quirky and charming for an American series.
Ooh.
Because we don't really have shows
we're going
like
international
that. It almost feels British to me with
Sure.
like how think about how the colors are. It has the most vibrant, like bright, like come at you colors. It has like weird out of place CG stuff for like oh, we got to show the pie shop, like
establishing stuff, yeah.
But they're fine, and then just a really cute kind of premise for like a show.
I know, and you basically just said it all perfectly. So we'll join you all next week. What did I say for this? Like things like this are like surreal or whatever.
Very much so.
But like I often say like, oh, where is it set? It's set nowhere. Like this is not real.
Yeah.
But in a way that's different and not shitty like everything else is or whatever, right?
Now, if you've never seen this show, the premise of it is a boy learns he has the power to touch dead things and bring them back to life. If he touches them again, they die forever. And if he lets them live for more than 60 seconds without touching them to put them, to rest forever, something else dies.
Yes.
Something of equal size dies.
Very succinctly stated. This is all revealed to him because his mother dies. He brings her back, and then after 60 seconds go by, his best childhood friend, love interest's father dies.
Yes.
Causing again like scenes like the funeral where it's like looking up the hill and they're both black against the sun, and it's just these two funerals in this impossible big graveyard or cemetery or whatever.
There was no reason for it to be that good. You know what I mean? Like people
amazing.
Like there's a lot of effort is taken to make shots look just really nice and perfect and picturesque. You have these things like just these open fields and beautiful settings. And the colors, are really it's so overly vibrant or Easter tone or matched,
candy. It takes place in a fake candy world. Like if you look at a show like The Mighty Boosh, but not at all, right? More like Lemony Snicket or something like that.
Yeah, that's a better comparison.
We are meaning to imply partially maybe that it's a child's interpretation of the world, or maybe it's like your memory of the world, but it's not the real world. But we have to communicate to you that like this place is like sad or whatever, right? So like they literally just change the place into a place that feels that way, right? It cares more about the feeling and like how you feel when you see it than if the way it looks makes sense. Like the cruise ship and like the offices and all that stuff, they're just what they have to be for this whole thing to make sense. Pie shop, perfect example. Like these places aren't real. They don't make sense. They're not like, wait, what is that? Who pays the rent? What's going on? Like
no.
It's not real, right? But in a way that does not check me out or make me like detached from it. It makes me much more engaged with it and much more interested in it, right?
No, the visual interest is at an all-time high. You match that with how well the cast is paired. These people just have such a great chemistry.
Oh, yeah.
In like all ways.
Right.
So there's like 4 main characters. You have our pie maker. He has an assistant. He has his love interest, who he brought back to life, and he has his partner, who's like a private detective.
Yes.
And like the private detective guy makes me laugh routinely.
He's actually wonderful.
Bitch, I was in the vicinity. Like that shit's just so funny.
I'm proud of it. Yeah. When it first starts, I had to like have all these weird flashbacks of like what it is and all that stuff, right? Because because all that stuff that we've talked about is like kind of is set up in the beginning, right? And then it flashes forward in like a number of years. And a private detective has caught on to his like undead reanimation powers, and now they have a racket where he has to interrogate recently deceased people to get the crucial clues so they can get the reward or get like the whatever payment for their services. It's a weird version of like Psych or like something else like that.
It's the true version of
crazy
Psych.
thing. Yeah, it's this amazing and like that alone would have been enough for like a nice, fun, quirky show, right? But then we have this whole thing where he brings that girl back from the dead and leaves her there, but now can never touch her, right?
Yes.
They were each other's first kiss, and they're super in love. And he makes pies to this day because of his dead mother, and he killed her father, but she doesn't know, and they can't touch. They have this weird like thing, and how they have to interact and all this stuff.
Can't even touch his own dog.
He can't even pet his own dog.
But there's something awesome about the idea that his dog will live forever as long as it never touches him.
I know. That's, if I had to say anything weird about it, which makes no sense to even bring up. But how did he not touch the dog for that long to have it be like the mom that made him realize that he couldn't touch the dog? You'd think the dog would like immediately run up to him and get scratches or whatever.
Suspension of disbelief.
I could forgive these small things and just write around them in my head.
Or just how in the last 16 years have you not accidentally touched the dog, or the dog jumped up for food or anything?
Right. How is the dog smart enough to know that if he touches you he'll die? But it's a matter of life and death. It's crazy, right? But you're not worried or like thinking about all those things like I just mentioned. They can sit on the same park bench next to each other, and you're not like, you need to be in different rooms. Oh my God, right?
Like, if this was actually me in a scenario like that, and I have just touched you to bring you back to life, and know that touching you again would cause you to die, I'd be like, well, you should wear like a gimp suit all the time so that I can't touch your skin.
Or like we can't be anywhere near each other.
Yeah, can you be the boy in the bubble? Because it ain't gonna be me. You're the one that's gonna die.
Yeah. But they're literally in the same car. They're literally in the same whatever. They're sitting on two chairs, which again, in a show that took itself more seriously, I'd be like, well, I'd be all over them about. But I feel like in this show, because it's just a metaphor for all this complicated stuff that I can't even put into words about like love and like, because he doesn't touch anyone or like anything because he's been living in this world like he gets rotten fruit and touches it to make it ripe, perfect again, and then makes makes it into
how
pies.
Genius that is though, because even though he's like chopping up and cooking it or whatever, it still stays fresh forever.
Yes.
Because he's touched it.
Because he's magicked it back to life or whatever.
I think that's so genius, because think about that in like any business where things go bad.
Right.
He doesn't have to worry about that step.
He can't he can't even eat his own pies though. He can't pet his dog. He can't touch the love of his life, who he saved, her life. And if he puts a spoonful of pie into his mouth, it turns rotten in his mouth. This is such a weird, like, it's so on the nose even, and such an amazing metaphorical, like, deep thing in a show that's so silly and like fun. Where you don't even have to engage with any of that depth if you don't want to. But there's so much there. It's so dense. In this first episode, we go from like his childhood all the way up to like everyone's alive, the ants are out of their agoraphobia, everything's crashing together.
The ants are wonderful characters. They were swimming like professional mermaids, if you will, and the ones like the bad guy tried to choke one to death, and she's like, I can hold my breath a long time. Then shotguns him out the window. That was like an moment for me.
Great. No, I know. And like their house is this impossible set full of all these things and everything's perfect. That's very Lemony Snicket, is these weird adults that are weird and all that stuff. Yeah,
I gotta look into like who was in charge of making this show and see what else they've done, if it's in this same vein or if this is very specific to this show.
It's very much, now that I think about it more and more, I think it's very much just a good version of Lemony Snicket. Because there's a narrator that like interfaces with the whole things or whatever, but she couldn't help saying one more thing, and then she says, I can't help but mention, like, it's this weird, like the repetition for humorous purposes. Like it hits so many things. Again, that it does not need to even waste its time with. It's so like above and beyond. This is like one episode, folks. Imagine after the whole season's over. What I'll say.
Yeah.
I want to say too, I accidentally watched episode 1 of season 2. So all this just happens to fit perfectly with season 1. No, I did. I got like 20 minutes into it where I was like, what's going on? Because they recap all of this in the beginning of season 2.
Okay.
So I'm like, this is brisker than I remember. And then I forget, like something else happened when I was like, oh, wait a minute, what am I watching? Whatever. Amazon streaming is a cruel and strange mistress. I somehow got into the wrong thing or whatever.
This is on Amazon, in case you want to watch and somehow just watch this review.
Make sure you're watching the correct season, though. But yeah, no, this is on Amazon. This is totally worth watching. This is a big deal. This is one of those things. We have to pluck this out and preserve this for the generations, because this is good.
No, it made me think, like, why don't I have the DVDs of this?
Yeah, exactly. Why don't more people know about Pushing Daisies?
Well, it only lasted 2 seasons, and it's been like 15 years.
I'm sure a lot of people do know about Pushing Daisies, but it's one of those things where you're like, oh shit, a good thing.
Indeed.
That's not like everything else.
No, this will not be a chore to watch through. All right, guys, so that is episode 1 of season 1. Let us know in the comments what you thought about it. Don't die in a fire, and we'll see you next time.
Hello, internets. I just love watching JustDaggers. If you've enjoyed this video as much as I have, click that subscribe button. Peace out, homies.